Hello everybody, welcome to HDpiano. My name is Dan, and in this lesson we'll learn how to play Für Elise. It sounds like this. All right, let's break down part one. I'm going to teach hands together here, and I'll tell you why in a second. Let's first start. This is middle C, and we are up on this E with our pinky. We're going to rock back and forth, pinky and ring between E and D sharp. From there, we jump down to B, D, C, and A. It's our first little phrase. Now when we land on this A, the left hand plays this lower A. And it shoots up through these three notes. Now the reason I'm teaching hands together should be evident here. The hands are flowing together. Notice how that just passed seamlessly between the left and right hand? That's how we're going to try to make it sound. So we have A, E, A in the left, and then C, E, A in the right, leading up to B. Now the left hand is doing its most challenging jump here. E to E. And you're going to lift that bottom note, let the pedal carry the sound through, and play G sharp with your ring finger. And that leads right into this right hand playing E, G sharp, B. So here's when the left hand comes in. Now the left hand goes back to that A position. Okay, so from the top, super slow, up to that point. Now we pretty much repeat. Play the thumb there, and then repeat. And the second time through, the right hand just does this differently. It plays E, C, B, and we end the thought right there. Okay, so that is part one. I know there's a lot here to sort of ingest. Let's go through the whole thing really slowly, okay? Ready, and... Right hand changes. Okay, use that slow run through as your blueprint. If you're having any questions about which notes and which rhythms are played where in part one, that should answer those questions. I wanted to, before we move on, I want to talk about expression, okay? Beethoven was such a dramatic character, right? His music was very, it was romantic. He was a composer during the beginning stage of the Romantic period, in fact. And so we want to play this song romantically, like this. There are a million things you could do expressively, and that's just my take on it right there, right or wrong in your opinion. So I wanted to touch on a few of the things that I'm doing. I'm accelerating a lot. It's an accelerando in Italian, and it happens a lot during this C to D sharp motion. So we'll play like a slow start and then ramp it up. And then a lot of sudden stops here. And then that accelerando again. Okay, so that's something that you're going to see a lot in this whole piece. Use the pedal. Use the pedal, especially when you're blending the left hand in. Notice how the pedal is doing almost all the work there. And then I lift the pedal for this new chord. Again, pedal doing all the work. Okay, so keep that in mind too. The sustained pedal, very important in this type of music. Part 2 sounds like this. All right, so this is sort of the finished thought to part 1, and it does involve some nice reaches in both hands. Let's break it down, hands separately. This is middle C. We're still in the same range as part 1. We start with this ascent from B up to E. Okay, now we have a sequence. Play G, F, E, D. Now I want you to take this shape and then just imagine shifting it down one white key at a time. Okay, we're taking these 4 notes, we're just shifting them down. They sound kind of cool together. And that's what we call a sequence. Taking one motif or musical idea and shifting it elsewhere. That's a sequence. Okay, I will introduce the left hand in just a second. Let's recap that right hand. So we have this ascent from B up to E, and then we have G, F, E, D, and then sequence that down the nearest white key, and then down again the nearest white key. Okay, with the left hand, we have C, G, C. And then we have G, G, B. Then we have A, E, A. And then we have big spread here, E, E, E. Each one higher than the previous. Okay, let's go through that slowly. Part 2, hands together, first 4 measures. Now the right hand jumps in, plays that same E, then the next one higher, then back to the low E. So here's what we have. This is a lot of E's. All right, so those are all E's. I don't know what Beethoven was thinking. Was the guy deaf or what? So we're coming off of this B in the right hand. And then right before we play that intro to part 1 again. So let's look at those E's one more time. It's kind of confusing. Took me even a few goes through it to understand what was happening. So E, E, E. Now right hand. And now jump up. Okay? And then from there, we actually play a bunch more of that E and D sharp rocking right there. So we're playing and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1. Okay? You're just going to have to watch me to know how many times that is. All right, part 2, whole thing, super slow. All the E's. And 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2. There we are. All right. That takes a long time at that tempo. All right, now let's play it closer to the tempo at which we'd perform it. Da, 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 do, da, da, right there. 1, 2, 3, 1, and play. Okay, very good. And much like part 1, we have to insert expression, human expression into this, so that rather than playing it squarely like that, we might play. Right? So that is what I'm going to leave you with. Part 1, part 2, both done. Part 3 is fun. It sounds like this. And then we have that fun little sort of teasing part 1 that leads right back into part 1. Okay, so part 3, definitely the most challenging so far. We start, I'm going to teach hands together. Actually, check that. I'm going to teach hands separate. I think there is enough distinction. So let's start with the right hand. This is middle C. And we start with these 3 chords, C and E, F and C, and then E, G, C. And here's the melody. I have 2 grace notes on F and A. Those are just quick flip notes. Grace notes. Up to C. And then we play F, E, E, D. We've got a little scalar run here in F. We start on a B flat, A, G, F, E, D, C, B flat, A. So from the top of part 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. From there, got another grace note. This time it's on B flat. And then we do that little scalar run up to C, and then D, D sharp, E, E, F, A, C, D, C, B flat, C, D, B, C. Okay. Let's look at everything in the right hand up till then. 2. All right, now here's where it gets fun. You're going to see a pattern here. The G stays on top in the pinky, right? Every other note is that G. Now the notes that precede the G are C, G, below, A, D, pardon me, B, C, D. So we're just walking up, starting on C, and then we walk up from G. And then we have this fun scale. E, G, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, G, F, D. And that's the fingering I would recommend. And then guess what? We repeat it. And on the repeat, we change. We have E, F, E, D sharp, E, B, E, D sharp, E, B, E, D sharp, E. And then we play. Very dramatically, we play these 3 notes. And they lead us right back into our part 1. Okay, so that is all the right hand to part 3, and we need to now learn the left hand. I'll tell you what, I'm going to continue playing the right hand. You can focus on the left hand, and I'm going to talk about the left hand, but it's nice to hear the right hand, how it supports, I guess you could say. So we have B and C in the left hand, then A and C, then G, B flat, C. Now this is what we call Alberti bass. What we're doing is taking a chord and breaking it up, giving it this accompaniment style. And for the most part, the accompaniment style here is bottom, middle, top, middle, top, middle. And we have this F chord, and then a B flat chord. And the accompaniment style changes a little bit here. This C7 chord. And then after that F chord, after that, we go to A minor. That's it, it's 2 Ds there. Okay, this is a lot so far. I know I said I was going to include the right hand, but it's kind of hard to focus. So the left hand from part 3 sounds like that, super slow. 2, 3. Now we're outlining a B flat chord. Get the F chord again. Now A minor to D minor. Okay, let's hear how that sounds with the right hand. And... Now watch the left hand here. So it plays C and E. We have F and G, E and G, D, F and G. And then the C chord, triad, C, E, G. We jump down to F and A, and then shift up to G and B. And we repeat that. And this is where we end. All right. So this is tough to teach. It's not very sectional. It is a challenge, but I'm glad you're still with me. Let's play all of part 3, hands together. I think this is probably what you've been waiting for, very slowly. Here we go. 2 and 3. Okay. Feel free to rewind and practice that a million times like I did. Here we are. Let's try it at a fast performance tempo. Here we go. And that is part 1 after that. All right, guys, the only other piece of music here is part 4. This is where things get a little bigger, more bombastic sounding. Part 4 sounds like this. All right, now we're back into part 1. So this is where things get really big and loud and bombastic. And we've got this pulsating rhythm in the left hand. We'll talk about all of it. Start with the right hand. This is middle C. I know we've got a wide span here, so I hope you're able to hone in on my hand. Start on this A. I'm going to play this chord. This is sort of an E diminished chord. E, G, B flat, C sharp. Then a D minor chord, F, A, D. We go from C sharp and E to D and F. Add that note on the bottom. This gives us a G sharp diminished chord. The first 4 measures are A, E diminished, D minor, pick up chords to G sharp diminished, A minor triad, A, C, E, F and D in the right hand. Now just chord playing that down, shift it down. To this chord, C, F sharp, A. This is sort of a C diminished. You're going to take that chord shape and move it up from C and A to E and C to D and B and back home. Okay, and then we're kind of repeating all that. There's the E diminished, the D minor, the pickup chords. Now this time we don't add the G sharp, it's just D and F. We repeat that 3 times. New chord tone here, we have G and E flat. Shifting down through F and D, E flat and C, landing on this B flat chord. D, F, B flat. Top note moves down to A, and then the top note moves down to G sharp. We have an A minor chord, C, E, A. And then an E7 chord, D, E, B. All right, and that's right before the big flourishing right hand part. So let's recap it. Right hand. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. We're going to repeat most of that. All right, now the left hand there. Easy enough. We're playing 16th notes on A. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then when we play this chord in the right hand, the left hand goes to D and A. Bottom note jumps up to G, D sharp. Now we're on A and, E and A. Top note in the left hand drops to G sharp. I'll play that low A there. On the repeat, we go to B flat, up to B natural, C, and E and G sharp. So I'm going to play all of part 4, hands together, super slow. Here we go. Ready, and play. All right, let's talk about the finish here to part 4. So this is cool. Very easy once you learn sort of what's happening here. So we're playing a low A, the left hand. And all we're doing in the right hand is outlining A minor chords. A minor, then up the octave, A minor. And we walk down D, C, B. Left hand plays this triad from here on out. And we do the same thing, sequenced up an octave. And then one more time. And now begins the chromatic descent. Chromatic means every note. So we're going to play every note down. Oops, I went too far. No, I didn't. We go all the way down to this E, which begins our part 1 theme again. Okay, so here it is. Chromatic scale. Oops. And now part 1. All right, part 4. Let's play the whole thing super slow, and then I'll play the whole thing at recorded performance tempo. Part 4 slow. Ready, and play. Part 1. All right, and here's part 4 at a performance tempo. 1 and 2 and play. Very good, everybody. We've learned every piece we need to learn to play the whole song. So I'm going to put parts 1 through 4 in proper chronological order, just like it was composed. Key of A minor, starting with part 1. Here we go. Part 2. Part 1. Part 2. Part 1. Part 3. Part 1. Part 2. Part 1. Part 4. Part 1. Part 2.